Let me tell you something insane. Somewhere on this planet, there is a country that took water from the Mediterranean Sea, salt water, and pushed it up a mountain to save a freshwater lake that was literally dying. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, actually pumping the sea uphill. And that lake? It appears in ancient scriptures. Millions visit it every year. Entire ecosystems depend on it. Today, I'm going to show you how Israel pulled off one of the most ambitious water engineering feats in human history. But first, if you love documentaries about engineering, history, or the wild things humans build, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. Water is life. We say it casually, but in some places on Earth it's not a proverb, it's a daily crisis. Israel is one of the few modern countries that was born into water scarcity. From day one, it had more people than it had water, more farms than rainfall, more ambition than rivers. And at the center of this water story sits a lake, the Kinneret, or Sea of Galilee. It's small, it's beautiful, it's ancient. And for decades, it was the country's entire water bank account. But like any bank account, if you withdraw too much and deposit too little, you go broke. And that's exactly what happened. This is the story of how Israel saved its most important lake, not by conserving water, not by praying for rain, but by reinventing the entire way a nation uses water. If you visit northern Israel, you'll see rolling green hills, palm groves, and a shimmering blue circle, the Kinneret. It's just 20 kilometers long and 12 kilometers wide. But in the mid-20th century, it became the primary water source for nearly the entire country. Why? Because Israel's geography is strange. Rain falls mostly in the north, people live in the center, and farms and deserts lie in the south. The Kinneret was the only large freshwater reservoir Israel had. For decades, fishermen relied on it, pilgrims visited it, and locals swam in it. But in the 1950s, the country faced a huge problem. A rapidly growing population and not enough fresh water. That's when an idea emerged that would reshape the nation. Imagine a young country with almost no money deciding to build a water superhighway across its entire territory. That project was the National Water Carrier, begun in the 1950s. This was not a simple pipeline. This was a national artery involving 130 kilometers of pipes, multiple tunnels blasted through rock, gigantic pumping stations, and massive canals. People at the time said it was impossible. Geologists said the terrain was too difficult. Economists said it was too expensive, and yet Israel built it anyway. When it finally launched in 1964, the country rejoiced. Water from the Kinneret flowed south, turning dry soil into fertile farmland. Cities grew, the desert bloomed. Israel became famous for making the desert green. But success came at a price, a hidden growing danger. Let's talk numbers. The Kinneret has red lines. The upper red line means it's too full, risking floods. The lower red line means it's too low, and the water becomes salty, risking ecological collapse. Then there's the black line, the point of no return, irreversible damage. Throughout the 80s and 90s, something terrifying happened. Rainfall dropped, summers got hotter. Farms and cities demanded more water, and the lake level sank. And sank, and sank. By the early 2000s, the waterline was so low that fishermen saw entire rocky areas exposed. Boat docks sat on dry land. Scientists found salt water seeping upward from underground. Desperate algae blooms appeared. The lake grew smaller every year. Then came 2008, the worst year in the lake's recorded history. The Kinneret sank dangerously close to the black line. Environmental collapse was imminent. Israel feared losing the lake forever. The country needed a miracle. But instead of waiting for one, Israel built one. Between 2005 and 2020, Israel underwent one of the world's greatest water transformations. First, ultra-modern desalination plants. These aren't small facilities. They are massive industrial complexes that can turn seawater into drinking water at a mind-blowing scale. Plants like Ashkelon, Hadera, and Sarek produce hundreds of millions of cubic meters every year. For the first time ever, Israel had more water than it needed. Second, wastewater recycling. Israel recycles around 90% of its wastewater, the highest rate in the world. This water irrigates farms, reducing pressure on natural freshwater sources. Third, smart irrigation. Drip irrigation was actually invented in Israel. Using sensors, soil data, and AI-based systems, Israel doubled agricultural output while using less water. And fourth, leak prevention. Israel monitors every pipe in the country for leaks. Some cities lose 40% of their water. In Israel, less than 10%. All of this stabilized the national system. But there was still one problem. The Kinneret was still near crisis level. Even if Israelis no longer depended on it, cultural and ecological reasons made saving it essential. Which led to an incredible question: what if we refill a natural lake with desalinated seawater? This is where the story becomes unbelievable. Water naturally flows downhill, but Israel wanted to reverse that. They decided to pump desalinated water from the Mediterranean Sea uphill, over 250 meters of elevation across tens of kilometers, and pour it directly into the Kinneret. No one had ever tried this on such a scale. This required reinforced megapipes, new pumping stations, and smart monitoring systems. The challenge wasn't just height. It was the cost, the pressure, and the risk of damaging ecosystems. When the system was ready, Israel flipped the switch. For the first time in its existence, the Kinneret was being refilled by water that came from the sea. The results were stunning. The lake level rose year after year, shorelines returned. The famous dry beaches disappeared under the returning water. Fisheries recovered. Plant life revived. And here's the craziest part. Israel can now stabilize the lake forever. In wet years, the lake stores water. In dry years, desalinated water can refill it. The Kinneret is no longer a fragile, endangered lake. It is now part of a balanced, resilient water system. Israel's achievement carries lessons for the entire planet. Water scarcity is not destiny. Nature can be restored through technology. Desalination and ecosystems can coexist. Innovation can rewrite a country's future. Countries suffering drought like Spain, South Africa, India, and Mexico are studying Israel's model. Because this isn't just about one lake. It's about showing that water crises don't have to lead to disaster. With the right tools, they can lead to transformation. And that's the story of how Israel made the sea climb a mountain. A nation on the edge of water collapse reinvented everything and saved its most iconic lake in the process. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button. It helps more than you think. Subscribe for more deep dive documentaries and drop a comment below. Which engineering miracle should we cover next? Thanks for watching, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.